now I'm going to read to you a poem that is a fun one. It's about the time I ran the Chicago Marathon with my sister Jamila. 26.2 miles. 26.2 miles. 26.2 miles. This was the goal that my sister and I set forth for ourselves, which we had accomplished. We knew that we had it within us, both as former track runners, she the Olympic level track star, and me as the child who was forced to do it even though I hated it. We saw Oprah do it and we said, you know what? Fuck it. If she can do it, so can we. So we began our very long goal of training to become that part of that elite group of finishers. Such a grueling process, waking at the crack of dawn to go run miles before the workday had even begun, leaving the warmth of my bed for the cruel, dark, cold of the morning, and I'm not a morning person. Quality Friday night parties were forgone to make room for long runs on Saturday, week after week, 20, 30 miles on pavement on our little petite frames. I once got hit by a car on mile 8 of a 14-mile day. That impact filled me with so much adrenaline and rage that I banged my fists on the hood of the car. I screamed profanities at the driver to the tops of my lungs, and then I kept running all the way home. The pain hit me once I got back, but I persisted. Days upon days of icing sore legs underneath my desk at work on those beautiful summer days in Seattle, runs down breathtaking wooded trails and pristine waterfront shorelines first required that I had passage through the downtown district and the sight of happy, carefree, well-rested people in beer gardens sipping their craft brews while I still had another 16 miles to go some days was a little too much. One training day that began at 4:30 in the morning and ended some hours later with a station wagon filled with smiling faces pressed up against the window, creeping along the road beside me. I waited for jeers or pointed fingers at my form or what I'm sure was a very unflattering appearance. Drenched in sweat, trudging along, almost at a shuffle. Nothing like the runners and the models in Runner's World magazine. Instead, they rolled down their windows and they cheered. I was stunned. The driver said, "We just wanted you to know that we saw you running a few hours ago, and it's inspiring to see that you haven't quit." I actually got misty at the thought. And it wasn't just because I was running uphill or because my thighs were rightfully on fire. By the time that race day came, I was terrified, I was ready, and I was excited. 4.5 hours of running! We stood at the starting line, a sea of 1,000 sharing the same goal, our friends, our family, eager to celebrate our triumph. I had 26.2 miles to get through, so I jogged along. My legs were tired, but they were ready. My feet were burning, but they were into it. All I had to do was keep my brain going for 26 miles. Have you ever tried to do that? To go on foot from one part of the city to Chinatown and then across the highway bridge to Little Italy and then to the south side and more? Seeing cars below and knowing that there's no rides home? You're in it until the end. It's complete lunacy, I swear. By mile 10, though, I'd found my groove. There were so many people calling out our names, coaching from the sidelines. "Go, Kiah, you can do it." And the crowds were amazing. Music, DJs, dancing people, Elvis impersonators, you name it. And I knew I could do this. 26.2 miles. 26.2 miles. Woo, 26.2 miles. And then I hit mile 16. And by that point, I no longer wanted any part of it. I just wanted to go home. This was too much. I was bored with the challenge. I was beyond uncomfortable. I was tired. It was insane to press on. My sister, somewhere far ahead of me, she leapt to a faster pace, but I knew that I would have to finish alone or not at all. Mile 20 is when the adrenaline kicks in and where you get that runner's high. Except alive is not how I felt. I felt defeated by exhaustion and overwhelmed at the thought of continuance. It seemed like it would never end. I was being outpaced by this ragtag team that wore cowboy hats and pulled over to chug a Budweiser every few miles or so. These drunk asses were outpacing me. How humiliating. The tears of resignation start to swell, and it becomes tempting to halt my momentum and allow the emotions and the doubt to take hold. I mean, this is all I want to do. Maybe just pause for a moment. I mean, hey, I tried, and that counts, right? But see, I'm the kind of person that if I don't get out of bed, I won't get out of bed. And the day will pass me by, and my pajamas will be the only thing that I have worn. But the day before, I boarded a plane to come do this crazy thing. And today, I got up, and I put on my lucky Supergirl shirt and some comfy bottoms. And through this work, they were all wet with the products of effort and stamina. My eyes, my cheek, and my neck were crystallized with layers of salty sweat. And somehow I keep going. I keep going. In an industrial part of the South Side, beautiful little black girls with yarn ribbons in their hair and matching cheerleading outfits erupt into cries of encouragement as I pass by. And I hear one of them say, "Look at that lady with the S on her chest." And my heart bursts. And again, I get misty, and I know that I must complete this journey. And as I reach those final miles, I cross paths with an elderly man, moving slowly but steadily. He says to me with a knowing smile, "We're going to finish this, aren't we, young lady?" And I look into his eyes with gratitude and I say, "Yes, yes, sir, we are." And like that, it's done. The medal draped on my neck, beer placed in my hand, silver blanket draped over my shoulders like a superhero's cape. Years later, I find myself at the starting line of a new journey, having accomplished more than I ever thought was possible. Can I overcome newly minted mental fears and reach a new challenge like a marathon that I must complete? See, my overly sensitive sensitivity to the world's pain drove me to distraction, considering what effect it was to sure follow a leader that was plucked from invisibility into visibility, and now left to leave others to worry about their own vulnerability. See, if those who are good can be silenced, what hope is there to find their own pathway to resilience? I look at a circle of women who carry accomplishments greater than those and most that I will ever know. And I do not believe that I belong, and I worry so much in my everyday conversations about my ability to show up as one of them, to carry the power of my ancestral mothers, to present self-assurance, grace, wisdom, and love. My words fumble, and they fall, and my face carries pain and the stress of personal burdens, the kind of life challenges that make many crumble under the weight. Will I emerge? Will I sing again? And if I do find my voice, who will be there to listen? Others encourage me. They speak words of security, describing me as I would like to see myself. I would like to run for miles today, long and hard until my lungs ache and my legs collapse, my body quivering, unsure of when and if I will rest. Careening down windy, wooded roads alongside babbling streams, my feet carving paths through mountaintops, my mind memorizing every vista and majestic beauty that I pass along the way. Heavy breaths offering prayers of gratitude for the journey. My wet body again purified by the sweat of release of salty sweat, kissed by the sun, tanned in a baptismal glow. My muscles are toned and strong and ready to carry the weight of my life's work. But if I stop at the start of an ascent, if I resign at the first twinges of discomfort, if I consciously self-sabotage through ill-preparedness or ignore the messages that are strewn across the skies, I may never truly know how far I might have gone, nor seen who may have been following in my footsteps all along. I find my legs, I find my strength, I find my breath, and I reach inward and upward, twisting out my spirit to accept the sunshine. I hear the voices of my sisters pushing me, welcoming me in and sending me off into the world. I find healing. I find solace. I find my voice. Through this journey, I find myself. In 26.2 miles, I found a roadmap to always come home and back to center, to persevere, and to find myself.